today live for you. And today we have Rashmi with us. She is a very brilliant functional nutritionist and health coach. She has her own ways of tackling the clients, and those ways are quite interesting. She makes us like whole session is quite entertaining when she is discussing everything with the team. So welcome to today's live, Rashmi.
Thank you so much, Maneesha, for such nice introduction, and thank you for having me here. Yeah.
Great. So, as you are so interesting, the topic for today is also quite interesting. Hypertension is quite common nowadays among
Right.
our families, our friends, and I think every third person nowadays is experiencing high blood pressure. Okay.
Right.
So, Rashmi, we would really like you to help our viewers and make them understand that what exactly is this hypertension.
Okay. Yes, we'll do that. So, as you correctly said, that hypertension is nothing but high blood pressure, medical term given to it. So, as it is very clear from the name, the pressure of the blood that flows in our vessels, in the arteries, that is on the higher side in the hypertension. That's how it happens, and it is basically determined by the flow of the blood. At the same time, it is determined by the amount of the resistance which is there in the arteries or in the blood vessels. So yeah, so that is hypertension. As you correctly said, that it is very common condition, and basically we monitor it in millimeters of mercury, and there are different stages also of the hypertension. So stage
So,
one.
what is the exact range if a common man, wants to measure his or her
Yeah.
BP at home? So,
Right.
when is the time when he or should take
Yeah.
interventions towards working on it?
Right. So if you talk about the normal range, it is going to be 120 by 80. But if you talk about when the person should start considering that something is wrong in the body, that depends upon the stages. So stage one can have, somewhere around 130 to 139. Here I'm talking about the systolic one, and the diastolic can be between 80 to 89. Again, the stage two, which is going to be the more worst condition we would see than the stage one. It can start from somewhere around 140, and the diastolic one can start from 90.
Okay.
So the person should start considering it as a concern once the blood pressure is coming high. We should not really sit and wait till it goes to stage two.
Yeah,
So in
yeah.
stage one only, it will be better to think about it and review the things which the
So
person is
also, I
doing.
just want to add one point here, as you correctly mentioned, the
Yeah.
ranges and everything. I think if a person is taking the readings for like more than 2 to 3 days and the
Right.
readings are constantly same or getting
Yes.
higher, then I
Right.
think it is a alarming sign that yes, you really have to work on your
Yes.
blood
Yes.
pressure.
You're
So,
right.
what
You're
are the
right.
common symptoms which a person? So, I think everybody in the house are not having BP machine, and 90% of the times
Right.
the BP machines are not giving the correct readings. So, what are the common symptoms of hypertension a
Right.
person will usually experience post that which you have to take a start working on their hypertension concern?
Right. So sometimes, Manisha, it can happen that the person is not even having the symptoms. It can be the very beginning
Hmm.
stage. But if
Yeah.
you talk about the symptom, like if the person is coming in stage two, it can be, type of throbbing headache. It can be flushing on the face or on the neck region. It can be severe anxiety, dizziness, numbness. So these all things can come in that person. Sometimes it can be difficulty of breathing as well if it is
Okay.
shooting up to the very high side. Yeah.
And I think sweating is a very I think
Common.
at the
Yeah.
earliest, as you said that at early stage the symptoms are very minimal. I think sweating is something which is I think will come on the first stage.
Right.
Great.
Right.
So are there any type of hypertensions also, or
Yes.
they are just common ones?
No, like there are definitely types of hypertension. So I would like to talk about it. First one is going to be the primary. Second one is the secondary. So first one, the primary one is something which is like quite common. It happens over the period of time. So it won't happen suddenly. It can be due to our genetic condition. It can be due to the age, due to obesity, due to alcohol consumption, or our lifestyle altogether. Yeah. Also, if you talk about the secondary one, that is something which can develop because of any pre-existing condition.
Okay.
Yeah,
Also,
or
so
the
pre-existing
yeah.
condition means if a person is experiencing any other diseases like diabetes,
Mhm. Can,
kidney
yes.
disease, then they can develop hypertension concern.
Right, right. So secondary one can be the case in that person. Also, there are two more types that comes under secondary one only. One is primary. So primary is something which is one is pulmonary. This is something which is going to affect your lungs, as it is suggested
Okay.
by the name. Yeah. So the vessels which are going to the lung, they are going to narrow, and the pressure in the lungs arteries are going to increase. So that's how it happens, and this causes water retention as well. So water retention
Okay.
can be one symptom of this type
High
of
blood pressure.
hypertension. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Another can be portal. So as it is suggested by the name, this is a vein that goes to our liver, and this is basically common. As I said, that it happens because of some pre-existing condition. If the person liver
Mostly the
is
liver
not really,
condition will going to impact
yes,
this.
right. So if the liver cirrhosis is there, so that can cause to, like portal
So I think
hypertension.
we need to tell our users that blood vessels is circulated throughout our body, and
Right.
everything in our body is correlated. So
Yes.
if any organ of our body is getting
Mm-hmm.
affected, or any disease we are experiencing like diabetes or kidney
Mm-hmm.
related problems or liver related, it is some way or the other going to put pressure on our blood vessels, which is going to cause high
For
blood pressure.
sure. For sure.
Great.
Yes. Right.
So, as you mentioned about the liver thing,
Mm.
what are the if a person is not able to understand or not able to control his blood pressure and it is increasing, so
Mm.
apart from liver and kidney as we discussed, is there any other body parts or body organs which are going to get affected at a very
Yes, yes, of course. So it will definitely, at the very basic level, it will affect the arteries. So arteries are something which are going to supply the blood throughout the
yeah,
body. The same way it will be affecting other organs. As you said, that kidney, liver is one thing. It can affect our heart if it is not being in control. Like if it is ignored for long duration of time, this can affect our brain as well. So heart
yeah,
definitely, like
and
if
it can
some
lead to
arteries,
hemorrhage.
yes, that can be the case. Also, if any artery is going to the heart and the pressure is increasing, it is not being taken care of, the blood flow to the heart can also get disturbed. So that's how the stroke and other thing are
Stroke
going
or
to
heart
happen. Heart
attacks.
attacks, yes. So
Okay,
it
okay,
will
great.
definitely affect.
Okay, okay, great. So, what are, like, as you're practicing functional nutrition and you're a health coach, what common symptoms you are observing, common cause you are observing in your clients? That they are nowadays developing. Like, every third person is developing hypertension issue. What is the
Yes.
common causes?
So if we
I think
talk
it's
about,
stress. For me, what
yeah.
I have seen in my clients is
Mm,
stress is like, and they don't want to understand that, stress is
mm,
actually very important part. They are like that, okay, minimal stress will be there, we
yeah.
cannot do anything about that. Apart from that, talk about something else. Like, apart from
Yeah.
stress, what are the other things which have to take care? But I
Yeah.
think stress is the very,
Main
very
cause,
major
yes, I do
thing
feel this.
because of which there is this pressure increases in our blood vessels and it leads to hypertension. Apart from stress,
Yes.
is there any other thing?
Yes, definitely. If the lifestyle is sedentary, if the person is obese, as we discussed about the other conditions, if any such conditions are there, the sleep, the kind of diet the person is having, so that can also be one thing. So, as you rightly talked about stress, I would like to share like one thing that happened with my client. So, one of my client was having this concern, hypertension. We were sort of monitoring the client on the regular basis, and we were figuring out that that person is having stress, but the client was not agreeing to that. As you rightly said, they won't.
Yeah,
So what
they
we
won't.
did, yeah, so we asked that client to do one particular type of meditation, and then after that check the blood pressure. So we did this
Oh,
for
it
few
drops
days.
drastically.
Yes,
It
it
drops
drops
drastically.
drastically. So then that client agreed to key, okay, yeah, that is happening, and definitely stress is one part. So we started tackling that, and it helped. So over the period of time, stress also improved, and the blood pressure also improved. And
Great.
in this, yeah, in this context only, I had one more client, and this was related to completely, kidney dysfunction. So
Okay.
Of course, some or the other is stress there, but that person was completely like, okay, doing things really well. But that client was having renal cyst. And so, like maybe in the middle of the program, we could figure out that the main cause of that person's hypertension is renal cyst only. Because if there is cyst in the kidneys, that will definitely affect the filtration process of the kidney. That will be low, and at the same time, it will affect the hormone also, the renin hormone that is going to regulate the blood pressure. So if that is also not coming up properly, then that person will be having that issue. So and the sad part with renal cyst is something, there could be multiple causes. It can be sometimes genetic, it can be idiopathic too. So we don't know the exact reason. We cannot really, completely work on that and fix it. But yes, if we know about it, we started tackling that, and that client started feeling better.
So, like as you said that your lifestyle, obesity, all the other diseases which can cause hypertension. I just want to know that there are various diets out in market for hypertension and
Yeah.
tackling the high blood pressures. So, what as a nutritionist you want to understand, make them understand that okay, just adapting a particular diet will not only going to be a solution to work on your hypertension. There are other
Yeah.
things also which has to be taken care.
Yes.
So can
Yes.
you help us with understanding some magical foods, if I say in a very layman language, which can actually help people to work on their hypertension?
Okay, so I'll be very honest here again, as you said that some magical foods. So
Yeah.
there are different kinds
I
of
knew
diets.
I thought so that you're going to say that there's nothing magical. It
Yeah,
comes in a
there is nothing.
combined and a holistic approach.
Right.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like if you talk about the different type of diet which are getting promoted in the market to control it, it depends on an individual, like whether that should be given or not. So according to me, what I would like to talk here is we should know the root cause. As I just gave two examples, two concerns. Like if we would not have known that the client is having like so much of a stress, and we would not have done that experiment with the meditation and the another with the renal cyst, we would not have known only. We would not be able to
I think
solve
proper
that.
root cause
Yeah.
behind every disease is very important, because even
Yeah.
I have observed this in my client. That I was having this client who was not drinking, he was not smoking, he was absolutely good with his diet, he was used to do the workout, he was doing his pranayam and everything, but still his blood pressure was not in the range. Sometimes it used to go at a very high point. And
Oh.
after figuring it out that everything is going aligned, we got to know that anxiousness and all the subconscious thoughts coming at the night time is actually the reason why the blood pressure is getting increased. So I
Oh.
think the word which you use, root cause, finding a good and a the proper root cause, not the good, the proper root cause behind the disease will actually help us understanding that how that particular disease has to be treated, because
Right.
every hypertension concern will be different in every person. Like the type of high blood, the reason behind you experiencing high blood pressure will vary different from from
Right.
my one. So I think
Right.
there will be no specific food or specific diet which is going to work for everyone.
Everyone. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And even the symptoms may vary. So by the
Yeah.
symptoms, by the blood work, we need to understand by the proper history, whatever has happened with the client in the past, whatever kind of trial and errors the
Yeah.
client has done. It's very
Yeah.
important to understand. So by that only we can figure out, okay, this has gone wrong. Then we have to go and fix that, so that the hypertension the client is experiencing should also get fixed. So
Hmm.
ideally that
Yeah.
should be
So,
done. Yeah.
uh, this might sound very funny, but what like you are tackling with clients, and so what is the worst, like, what is the most funniest reason you have find out when your client is telling that I'm experiencing blood pressure?
Uh, so maybe in most of the cases, like as we just talked about, the stress and not funny thing I would say, but yes, I have figured out the metabolic concerns also cause it. So if any
Okay.
person
So
is
what is
having,
this metabolic concern? If you just
so
help our
metabolic concern is
viewers.
basically like if you have any kind of disease or disorder that is directly impacting the metabolism of your body. For an example, if you talk about insulin resistance or obesity, any such kind of concern is there, that also causes this thing. So if you talk about like funny thing, this was definitely not funny, but yes, like knowing about the stress thing was funny in that client case, for sure, because we were also like, if the client was saying all the time no, there's nothing like that, so we were also in that thought ki, okay, yeah, things are normal. But we got to know that after introducing that meditation for the time being, so then we realized ki, okay, so yeah.
So as you know, we help our clients, tackling the diseases with a functional nutrition approach.
Mhm.
So are there any functional, I would say, food which actually can help them if at an early stage, like you differentiate that there are levels of hypertension, right? So if they're observing at a level 1 only that there's a fluctuation happening in their blood pressure, so are there any functional or foods which can be included in their routine at an early stage so that they don't end up developing a very high
Right.
concern of blood pressure?
Right. So they can be, sort of mindful about what they are eating. At the same time, they can keep a track on the blood pressure. At the same time, about the foods also. So, for an example, if the processed food is a lot, if caffeine intake is there, if alcohol is there, so that has to be controlled. So, the first step would be removing the thing which is causing the issue, and then introducing few foods which can help. So a healthy diet with with a normal protein, fiber. At the same
So
time,
I think
potassium
by the
too.
foods you are saying that the foods which has to be removed are mostly the inflammatory foods, because
Inflammatory
the
foods,
more
yeah.
and more inflammatory foods will come in the diet, the more inflammation will increase. And I think inflammation is going to increase the blood pressure in the body.
Right, right. That's for sure. So by removing the inflammatory foods and replacing it with the healthier options is something which is going to help in the beginning. And as we talked about the cause, so figuring out the cause. So these two will be the best idea to introduce in the
So
beginning
can
only,
you
so
can
that
you
it,
help us understanding few anti-inflammatory food items that a hypertension person can include in his or her diet to at least control the blood pressure on its own?
so if you
I
talk
know
of,
one. I think I know one. It is garlic. It is a very good anti-inflammatory, which can be
yes,
included
it
in the
can.
salads, in the
Yeah,
dals,
it could be
in the
ginger.
sabzis.
It could be ginger as well. That can be, like added in the food. At the same time, if the sudden shoot of the BP is happening at that time, of course, giving any particular food immediately cannot help. Like for an example, like if the blood pressure is too much high and we are trying to give any food, that will not really bring it down immediately. It should be done over the period of time, as you said about the garlic. So
Okay.
introducing such anti-inflammatory foods in your daily diet will help over the period of time.
So, is this true that coconut water helps in reducing the blood pressure?
See, since again the cause comes into the picture, if the cause is like having a lot of processed food and there is a lot of sodium in the body, that imbalance is there. So if that is there, coconut water being high in potassium should ideally help in that condition. So yeah,
Okay.
so that can be introduced
So I
in
have
that.
heard this that hibiscus tea is actually very good. I have heard this that hibiscus
Mhm.
tea is very good for lowering down the blood pressure. But I have also seen some adverse effect of those hibiscus flowers. If the quality of the flowers is not good,
Yeah.
if they are plucking them fresh and preparing it, there are chances that some toxins, some parasites, some pathogens might come, because those
Right.
flowers are just in they are just outside in the world, and
Right,
all kind
right.
of air
That has
pollutant
to be
is
taken
coming.
care of. And this is
Yeah.
with the every, like plant food that we have to be very careful about, like washing them and then using it properly. So yeah,
So I think the
hibiscus
dried
definitely
form
calms
of
down.
green
Huh.
dried form
Right.
will be better.
Yes, yes, that will be better rather than
Great.
freshly plucking and making the tea.
Any specific vitamins and minerals that are important to maintain our blood
Uh,
pressure?
Yeah, so if we talk about the nutritional supplements that we can give, one is going to be the magnesium, another can be our CoQ10. Uh, B vitamins also can help, vitamin C also, and vitamin E. So any nutrient which is going to sort of reduce the inflammation in the body, it is going to also work as antioxidant, will definitely help with the hypertension as well.
So antioxidants are going to reduce the oxidative stress.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think vitamin C, all your citrus fruits are very
So,
good,
right,
and
right.
CoQ10 again a very important antioxidant and
Mm,
anti-inflammatory, which is very good for dilating the blood vessels so that the blood flow can be improved in that.
right,
Whereas
right.
vitamin E, as you said, B complex and selenium, magnesium, again very important because they are not only going to help in maintaining the blood pressure, they are also going to help in the energy levels also, as you
That's
correctly
right.
mentioned. Great.
That's right.
So as I just asked you the functional food. So apart from garlic, ginger, is there anything else which we can include in our diet on a daily basis so that we can at least reduce the inflammation, which is one of the reason of high blood pressure.
So anti-inflammatory things, for an example, we can include the cinnamon in our diet. So in the first water drink that we have in the morning, we can put a pinch of that in our diet. So again, that will also work as
So
anti-inflammatory.
even salt has to be changed. Do we need to
Yes.
reduce the
Yes.
salt
So
intake or keep the salt in the minimal intake? Yeah. Because
yeah,
usually I've seen people are directly reducing their salt intake, which sometimes going to affect their sodium level also.
yeah, so again, that has to be taken depending upon the condition, like how much was the condition is. At the same time, the salt can also be replaced, like the normal table salt that we use. Sometimes you're not very mindful about using it. We put it on all the things that we are eating. So maybe we can switch to a healthy alternative in that. Like we can consider pink salt here, pink Himalayan salt, that is like the least processed one. So that's something which should help. At the same time, if you talk about completely restricting to the sodium is something which is not really a great idea,
Yeah.
because that is an
Yeah.
important nutrient for our body too. So when somebody is saying to completely restrict all the food which are going to have sodium, it should not really be done according to me. Of course, like if it is coming from the processed food which we have outside, or packaged foods, so
Yeah,
definitely
like your
that has to be,
chutneys, your
yeah,
sauces,
yeah,
all these things has to be
chips
chips,
and all, yeah,
namkeens, those all
biscuits,
evening
yeah,
snacks which we usually take with our chai. So
yeah.
all these, we are actually taking all these things, which is going to increase the blood pressure.
Yes, so that's something which has to be definitely considered and stopped. Yeah, but natural
Okay.
foods are fine. So naturally, we do not have to restrict anything to the max unless the condition is that worst and it is
I
recommended
think the
that.
salt point was very good. The instead of taking white salt or table salt, they can actually switch their salt to pink salt, which is
Right.
less processed and more of a it is going to have some trace minerals also
Also,
in it,
right.
which is going to help in managing their blood. Is it do they have to change if they are experiencing high blood pressure and the count the readings of their blood pressure is not improving? Does that correlates with the oils that they are using in their meals?
Yes, yes. That also has to be taken care of. So, for an example, the type of seed or refined oil that we take in our diet, it ultimately, increases the inflammation of our body. So
So
that's
even the
something which,
sunflower.
yeah, even that as well. So we'll have to be, sort of careful about the kind of oil we are using, and we should switch to healthier alternatives here. Again, we should
So what
consider using.
exactly these oils do in our body because of which we it leads to hypertension condition?
They are something which are going to stay in our body for longer period of time. They are going to increase the oxidative stress and the inflammation. They are going to add on to that. So, and which is ultimately, going to lead to the metabolic concerns, and then this thing. So this is not going to as it directly impact, but yes, like by impacting the other systems of the body, this is going to impact
And I think they're
hypertension as
going to
well.
increase the inflammation also again,
Yeah,
as we
for
discussed
sure.
that it
That's the
is,
first thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
The more and more oxidative stress will increase,
Stress.
the more and more they're going to
Uh,
impact the cells and the tissues of our body.
right,
Okay,
right,
great. So, as you mentioned that, again and again, that lifestyle is something which is very important to be taken care when it comes to,
right.
uncontrolled blood pressure condition. So, what are the three, I would like ask you three things, that what are the three things that a person needs to take care when it comes to its lifestyle to maintain its blood pressure?
Okay, so first I would say that the person should be careful about stress. The second can be the sleep, and the third thing can be, we can be very careful about the meditation practices, something which calms us down and helps us in managing our stress. Mostly, it happens these days that sleep is something which is getting ignored fully. So if that is the case, that's going to impact overall system of the body, and ultimately this is going to worsen the condition if the person is already having hypertension. So that too has to be taken care
Oh,
of.
okay. So sleep plays a
Yes, a very important role, right?
Yeah, I'm so
Hi,
sorry.
Maneesha. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
So we were
So,
talking about sleep. So apart from alcohol and smoking, I think again a very important point which has to be taken care, because alcohol again, as you said, that sugar stays in our body and it affects and increase the oxidative stress. Similarly with the
right.
alcohol also. So they are going to again, going to not only going to increase the inflammation stay in our body, but they're going to put pressure on the liver also.
Yeah,
So
even
alcohol is again
caffeine. Yeah, even
caffeine
caffeine
and
is something
teas.
which,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So if it is taken on the regular basis, if the quantity is not controlled, this is also which is going to make the condition worse.
So how? So we have seen, we both are seeing nowadays in the clients that sleep is something, which is getting affected very much. The reason is one of the reason is, yes, stress and anxiousness, anxiety, depression, lots of thoughts that are coming when they're sleeping, because somewhere or the other they are not getting connected with themselves in their 24 hours of their routine. They're not getting time to connect with themselves, which is somewhere or the other all those things which they are keeping in subconscious mind. So how a
Right,
person can improve his or her sleep routine, what all things they can do apart
right.
from doing a meditation at the night time. Yes, that is something everyone knows but nobody does. But if that is something which is, if we keep it as a secondary thing, like yes, we can include the meditation, but before
Right.
meditation what we can do?
So definitely being very mindful about the schedule, like what is the problem with the sleep time. So addressing that would be the first thing. Second would be if any thoughts are going on, and if that is the cause of the person not sleeping, if that is being the cause here, so that can be addressed by like some calming techniques, some breathing techniques that can be used at the same time, meditation, as you rightly said. The person should do something which definitely that person should get some time to do something which makes that person happy rather than just having the daily routine. So that is also one thing which sort of disturbs our sleep. Like we do not feel, if we have not done any single thing in the entire day that makes us happy,
Yeah.
that is also ultimately going to increase the stress, and ultimately the sleep is going to get disturbed with that. Also
And I
there
think,
are few herbs. Yeah,
yes, herbs. Yeah, I was about to say
yeah,
herbs also, because I think it really helps. The reason why herbs are important is because adrenal dysfunction is something we really have to talk about, and most of the people are not even aware about what is adrenal function. Your body is not at a certain point. Your body is not able to cope up with the kind of stress you're giving it
yeah, right,
to it at external level and an internal level. So to help
right,
and help your body to cope up with that stress, we really need to work on the adrenal gland. So one of the
right,
thing which is very good to work go with the adrenal improvement is your herb. So what all herbs we can add? I know one, it's chamomile. We can have
Yeah,
chamomile tea
so
at the night time.
right. Some adaptogenic herbs can be added, which are going to, tackle the stress and the anxiety. Ashwagandha can be one of those that can be used.
Okay.
Also, at the same time, we need to be careful for the like how long period of time we are using. At the same
Yeah.
time, it would be it would be great if you are using it, but that should be again done under the under
I think
somebody's
under
guidance, or
the
that has to be
guidance, and
monitored.
also
Yeah,
if you're doing it on your own, then don't get dependent on them.
yeah.
Find the reason that why you're not able to sleep it,
Then
and
let's
then
work.
work on that. So you can take
Yes.
their help, but don't get
Yeah.
dependent on them.
Dependent on them. Yeah.
Great. So I have a last question for you, Rashmi,
Yeah.
and the question is very, very common and very, very, I think every person who's watching the live will be asking you that. Okay, I know that I have to take care of my stress, I have to take care of my food, I have to meditate, sleep, alcohol, everything is fine. But what if there's a sudden rise in my blood pressure? What is that one thing? As you mentioned, that food is something which is not going to bring it down. What
Yeah.
is one thing which I have to do so that at least for a timing my blood pressure can come down? Because if it will shoot up very rapidly, very speedily, then it can affect our organs.
Yes. So this is something which I have seen with one of my clients. If it is suddenly going high, at that time, breathing exercise and meditation only this can help. So yeah, some kind of
Any
uh,
specific breathing exercise you're talking about here?
Anulom Vilom is something that can also help.
Okay.
Yeah. So for
Okay.
the timing, and meditation can be any which the person is maybe habituated with or feels calm with. So these two things can really help in dropping down the symptom for the time being, and of course later on the main cause has to be addressed.
So according to you, hypertension is a wholesome disease, or it is just your body's signal to tell you that okay, there's something wrong going on. You have to take care of me.
Yeah, so basically, if we talk about hypertension, it's generally not considered as disease. Disease, it is a symptom that comes with if there are many things which are not going right with your body, if there are some metabolic concerns, or as I said about if kidneys are not really functioning fine. So this is a symptom which actually tells us that our body is not functioning well, and that needs our attention and care. So yes,
Okay, great, great. So thank you so much, Rashmi, for clearing so many doubts and so many myths about hypertension, and telling our viewers that what they can do it at home and what are the reasons. And it is very important to find that reasons, because then only you can work on it, and you
right,
can reduce that symptom in your body. So thank you so
right.
much for joining everyone and understanding what is hypertension and how you can reverse it through functional nutrition and doing some lifestyle changes. Okay, to
Yes.
if by chance you have missed this live, go to our YouTube channel, our LinkedIn channel, and you can again go through it and share this live with your family members who are experiencing and suffering from hypertension problem. Okay,
Yes.
Rashmi, thank you so much for
Yeah.
having
Thank you,
coming here.
Manisha. Thank you. Thank
Bye
you for
bye.
having
Take
me here.
care.
Yeah. Bye bye. Take